Good evening, everyone. I'm Barry Glasser. I'm the president of Lewis and Clark College, and I'm very pleased to welcome you all here this evening. This is the 15th Environmental Affairs Symposium at Lewis and Clark, which is quite a milestone and something that we're This year's theme for the symposium, Environmental Tangles Across the Pacific, seems to me to be particularly apt for kind of encapsulating what we're about at Lewis and Clark and what the environmental studies program is about here. As you can no doubt tell from the title, the symposium has a strong international theme, and that is very resonant with the strength of international education here at Lewis and Clark, in a way that is well known throughout the country and much of the world, in fact. And this international dimension is central to almost everything we do, and it extends very widely throughout many of our programs and is also obviously very crucial to our focus on environmental education. So much that's distinctive and inspiring about Lewis and Clark, from my point of view as someone who's been here for 2 years now, is on display throughout the 3 days of the symposium. And so I want to just begin by offering my thanks and congratulations to the student organizers who put so much of this together, and to the faculty advisors and mentors for the students who put this together. And my thanks also to all of you for coming here tonight and throughout these 3 days to participate in the symposium. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Barry. Greetings, everyone. My name is Liz Safran, and I'm the director of the Environmental Studies program. I'd like to welcome everyone to the first keynote presentation of the 15th Annual Environmental Affairs Symposium. One of our student co-organizers of the symposium will introduce tonight's speaker, but first I'd like to provide a little bit of background on the Environmental Affairs Symposium in general, and on this week's symposium in particular. The Environmental Affairs Symposium is virtually as old as the Environmental Studies major itself. Its purpose is to examine an issue or a theme of environmental significance in a sustained way and from diverse perspectives over the course of several days in order to expand our collective understanding of that issue. And by us, I mean the Lewis and Clark community, but also the symposium attendees from Portland and the panel and keynote participants who transport the echoes of this dialogue to points well beyond our city limits. In the spirit of the Environmental Studies program at Lewis and Clark, we try to examine critically our own beliefs and the received truths of mainstream environmental discourse, believing that there is as much to be learned from the gaps and silences in that discourse as from the messages themselves. That approach also leads us to seek engagement with diverse disciplines, including some not traditionally associated with environmental matters. This year, we wanted to bring an explicitly international focus to the symposium and to involve students and faculty from 2 of our interdisciplinary majors, East Asian Studies and Environmental Studies. In particular, we wondered how examining environmental perspectives and issues rooted in different biophysical and cultural settings might offer fresh insights into how we and our counterparts across the Pacific engage with our surroundings. By focusing on entanglements, we delve into the ways in which our fates are shared, sometimes through the fluids and solids that connect us, sometimes through the webs of our own commerce, and sometimes through the ideas that move and morph between us. Since most of you will be moving in and out of the events of the week, as time and inclination permits, I consider it my job to brief you on the arc of the symposium so that you understand what you're getting into tonight and why. Earlier today, we hosted a panel that explored some of the biophysical linkages between East and Southeast Asia and Western North America. Tonight, we explore the possibilities and limits of one form of environmental change, grassroots movements, in China, one of East Asia's centers of gravity. Tomorrow, we explore the desire to see and experience otherness, other cultures and other landscapes, through a panel that critically examines so-called ecotourism, and through an evening reception at the Lansu Classical Chinese Garden, to which you are all invited. On Wednesday, we host two panels that, one, explore global interconnections embedded in the patterns of procurement and production of various consumer goods, and two, critically examine purported connections between religious or spiritual narratives and diverse constructions of nature. In the evening, our second keynote explores, in the setting of Japan, the intimate dependencies and threats linking humans to the industrialized landscapes of our own making. And finally, on Thursday, we return in our last panel to the theme of forms of environmental management under diverse political systems. We conclude the symposium with a banquet featuring food inspired by East and Southeast Asian cuisines. Before I depart the stage, which I'm eager to do, I'd like to acknowledge the student co-chairs of this symposium who have masterminded this event. So maybe you could stand up when I call your name. They are Sarah Clement, a junior environmental studies major. That's perfectly appropriate. Laura Nash, a senior East Asian Studies major. And Amanda Wickramasakara, a senior environmental studies and sociology anthropology double major. Where's Amanda? Amanda. I would also like to acknowledge Jennifer Hubbard, Director of the East Asian Studies Program, and Carrie Coe of International Affairs, who were faculty co-supervisors of this symposium. And lastly, I would like to give my deepest thanks to Pamela Rooney, the administrative coordinator, I need some coordination, Pamela, of environmental studies, for her skill and incredible hard work in making this event actually happen. I'd now like to turn it over to Laura Nash, who will introduce the keynote speaker. Without further ado.
I am excited to introduce our first keynote speaker, Zhong, who flew across the Pacific to join us this evening. In October of 2004, just 3 months after he graduated from Hefei University of Technology with a Bachelor of Engineering in Electronic and Information Engineering, Zhong founded Gansu Province's first environmental NGO, Green Camel Bell. Over the last 8 years, Green Camel Bell has helped to add several sites of pollution along the Yellow River to the China water pollution map, pressuring factories to cut back on the waste that they dump into the river. Zhong and Green Camel Bell's volunteers have also demonstrated and promoted eco-farming, for which they received a World Bank China Development Market Award in 2008, and have also encouraged college students to start environmental groups at their universities. Zhong was recognized as a Time Hero of the Environment in 2009. Besides acting as founder-director of Green Camel Bell, Zhong worked at the Chinese Academy of Sciences as an assistant engineer, and he has been both a standing committee member for the 9th Gansu Youth Federation and a lead fellow since 2009. He has presented his grassroots environmental work at several universities and conferences in China and the United States. We are proud to add Lewis and Clark College to that list tonight. Please join me in welcoming Zhong.
Good morning, no, sorry. Good evening, everybody. It's my great pleasure to come here and share the grassroots environmental movement in China, what they can and they can't. There will be 3 parts in my talk: environmental movements, cooperation with the US-based organization, and my personal story. What's the current environmental problem in China? I think it's a conflict between environment and development. China has a very fast GDP growth during past 30 years within the price of many serious environmental destruction. However, China's central government still enact many environmental protection policy. Let's look at Go West policy as an example. In 1999, the central government started the strategy to narrow disparity in levels of income and development between coast and western province, which is called Go West or Western Development. In 10th 5-year plan from 2001 to 2005, it emphasized environmental protection for the first time. In 11th plan, the emphasis has been changed into sustainability rather than just the growth rate. The most recent 12th 5-year plan, which is published early this year, the emphasis still is ecological environment. And the key objects related to environment include forest coverage rate reaches over 19%. GDP per unit of energy consumed drops by over 15%, and so on. Besides policy requirement, China has a huge governmental system of environmental protection. Ministry of Environmental Protection and part of Agriculture and Forestry Bureau. In 2008, the former State Environmental Protection Agency was upgraded to ministry status and its power extended. Environmental Education and Publication Center is one unit of environmental protection system. They should have a close connection with the public to improve people's awareness of environment, but they are seriously lack of environmental officials. Take Gansu province as an example. The population of Gansu province is 26 million, but the government officials in charge of environmental education and publication is only 100. So that's the reason why we need non-government organization. Here, I will use 3 circles to show China's society and social changes. Before 1979, the only circle is the government. NGO is reorganized according to socialist principles. Before 1949, there were independent NGOs such as farmers' cooperatives. After 1949, they were mostly observed by local government. In 1979, China implemented economic reform. A larger circle of market was formed. After 1990s, it's the civil society reform period. Many grassroots NGO, community-based organizations, student groups, and voluntary network were founded. Environment, health, and education are the focal areas. Although the circle of civil society is still much smaller than other parts, the small government, big society model is promoted by the many NGOs and the public. Let's have a look at environmental NGOs history in China. The first generation organization was founded in 1990s, such as Friends of Nature. Friends of Nature is the first national environmental NGO in China. It's founded by the grandson of Liang Qichao, a famous politician in Chinese modern history. Most other environmental NGOs were also founded by social elites, such as scholar, teacher, and jurist. Distributed many in China, in Beijing, mainly in Beijing, the country's capital. After the year of 2000, more and more general public, such as students, youth, retirees, are joining the green movement. The next generation NGO are being studied everywhere. In 2004, Anti-Lu River Dam movement was called the milestone event because it's the first time international and domestic NGOs have cooperation and work together. The first time NGOs' words heard and accepted by central government. The first time NGO arose the public discussion on environmental protection. Planting trees, watching birds, and picking up trash are three typical activities of environmental NGO before 2004. Afterwards, environmental NGO are starting to promote policy advocacy, community development, and civil society more and more. In China, environmental NGO are working on environmental education, wildlife conservation, rural communities, policy, climate, and other related issues. There are three registration types for NGO. It's very interesting, I think, just in China, maybe in Vietnam and other socialist countries. NGO should be registered as a civil affairs department, but it's very difficult for grassroots NGO on the current double management system, which requires another government department to be responsible for NGO's management and risk. So many really NGO have to be registered as business organization or keep unregistered status. The really NGO I meant depends on its mission and value, not whether with government approval. Here are 5 types of NGO by background. Gango, government-organized NGO, has close ties with government, but limited autonomy overall. Grassroots NGO is independent and indigenous, but lack of funding and well-treated people. Many grassroots only have 1 or 2 staffs. International NGO is well-financed and professional, but lack of community connection. Student groups has a huge number and energetical, but lack of participant sustainability. The last kind, semi-NGO, is within the umbrella of university system, but is it real NGO? For the survey of All China Environmental Federation, that's a national Gango, we can believe that the date is a bit accurate. By the end of 2008, there are about 3,500 environmental NGO in China, distributed in every province. Around 37% are initiated by government departments, which is called government-organized NGO. 39% are student groups, only 500 grassroots environmental NGOs with the percentage of 14. Like strong and tenacious grassroots groups are growing fast and playing a very important role in society. 3 years early, there were only 200. The working scope is different, international, national, regional, and community level. Most grassroots groups are in the levels of regional and community. The distribution of environmental NGO, majority in Beijing, because where is the political, economical, cultural, financial, educational, and transportation center, also the center of NGO. Many in southwest China because the underdeveloped economical, many minority and abundant wildlife. Where environmental NGOs' money come from? Congo can get government financing and major enterprise sponsorship. Collegiate support, member fee, and enterprise sponsorship are green student groups funding resources. For grassroots groups, it's diverse. Many are fed by sheep milk. Why called sheep milk? Because the sheep and the foreign pronounce same in Mandarin. It's a joke. And besides the international foundation, there are also many domestic foundations. Some NGO can get funding from enterprise and public. Some NGO provide service and sell productions, such as training, evaluation, organic food, and so on. If the NGO has a good relationship with the government will give them some funding as well. And how about the relationship between NGO and Chinese government? It depends on what you are doing. Some activities make the government feel happy, some don't. The government like environmental education, don't like advocacy and lobbying that you plan to challenge the policy. They like local activity as tree planting, don't like networking that organizations in different places organized together. They like green celebration such as Earth Day ceremony, don't like pollution information collection and other whistle blowing. Because if NGO do a lot about pollution, that means government incompetence in these areas. They like community service, don't like international connection, because they can't understand why foreigners give money to China for environment. They feel, they often ask the question, what is their purpose? They like green business, don't like anything non-for-profit. If you go to make money, they feel it's normal. So the relationship is shifting according to what you are doing. In the past, grassroots and groups can't do what the government don't like. Now the situation is better. Grassroots is extending more space. And what's the role of environmental NGOs in Chinese society? To generate public, NGO is raising public awareness of environmental issues and establish a platform for participation in environmental activities, decision, and stewardship. To government, NGO is promoting better environmental policy and supplementing the operation of government. To enterprise, NGO is monitoring pollution factories and promoting corporate social responsibility. After brief introduction to environment NGO in China, I'd like to share 2 examples about cooperation in Pacific Rim for Chinese grassroots green movement. One is about local action. Another is about national network. 2 environmental NGOs are in these 2 cases. Pacific Environment is a US-based NGO that protects the living environment of Pacific Rim by promoting grassroots activism, strengthening communities, and reform international policies. They have projects and many partners in Pacific Rim, including Russia, China, Japan, Alaska, and California. And Green Campbell is a grassroots NGO based in Gansu province, northwest China, that increasing people's environmental awareness, promoting public participation, and improve regional eco-environment by demonstration and advocacy. Pacific Environment and Green Campbell become partners since 2006. The mission of Pacific Environment is protecting the living environment of Pacific Rim. And the Green Campbell's mission is protecting environment in West China. They are very similar. And the first case is about local action of cleaning up the drinking water. In China, 90% rivers flowing through city are seriously polluted. The Yellow River is one of them. Green Campbell has a project in 1,500 residence villages along the Yellow River. For decades, the villagers there have been drinking untreated water from the Yellow River. The situation became worse when hydropower stations were built near the village in 2007, which increased the contamination in water supply. So let's watch a video first.
兰州是唯一一个黄河穿城而过的城市，拥有非常丰富的水资源，但是仍然有很多地方它的饮用水是存在问题的。梁家湾就是这样一个例子。
我们也就是这个甘肃兰州郊区的一个普通的这么家这个农民家庭啊，家本就有2个小孩，2个姑娘，大的一个那么也大了，今年21岁，高本毕业啊，现在也还在家里也没个什么合适的工作，小丫头还小，也就才念小学5年级。我们现在最大的愿望呢，就是我们能够吃上干净的水，再也没别的什么希望。就是现在，特别是这上游它这工厂污染的特别厉害，再加上原来他就说没库区的时候，他还原来是活水，他最起码他就说脏了脏，他留着完呢。后来这建了一个这个柴家下电站，建好以后，我们这生活区整个成了一滩死水了。再加上这个我们的这取水的这个泵房下移以后，它正好跟我们的这个排污口它很接近，它的这之间的距离就是50米左右吧。你说在这一个水区域内，一方面排水，一方面是取水，这就水质这就更差了。
对于梁家湾村民的话来讲的话，他们赖以生存的这种水源哈，面临着这么多的困难。我想可以预估的话，这个村子将来它的生存质量首先是降低的，而且它的肿瘤的发病率哈，会在若干年后，或者哈现在就已经明显，就说会升高。
他那个一般企业的那个工业用水、厂这个生活用水，你像医院你的这些乱七八糟这些费，他全部归黄河里去了。他老百姓这没办法呀，归黄河里了，我们就吃的本身就吃的是黄河水呀，他你细细看里面还有一个小盆子，反正导致这个老百姓你看恶心、拉肚子、头昏、胸闷等等一些这个病状，都是这个与水有很大的关系。
头就是不灵，不能服服。我发现我有个月老吃少，我就扎每个月老就吃少。
吃个安乃近呀，去痛片呀。
去痛片呗，多的就是去痛片。
我作为一个区人大代表，我在每次开会的时候，我都把老百姓的呼声我都带回去了，带到会场上。带到会场上，我又想提建议，想给人大提出这个建议，想在政府的大力支持下，和村上的老百姓的这个配合下，我们尽快的吃上达标的自来水。
哎呦，你这个是采访的时间长了，这个不到解决呀，仅是个采访啊，等于1年呢，是的。
In 2008, Green Campbell discovered the situation with the funding from Pacific Environment. For a year, Green Campbell collects water samples and conducts health survey among villagers based on testimonies from the villagers and data obtained from the villager health clinic. Cancer-related deaths in the village increased by 30% in 5 years, from 2003 to 2008. 9 people died from heart, future, and cancer-related diseases within 8 months in 2008. The villagers believe the cause of death and increased health problem was associated with drinking untreated water polluted by nearby industries. At the end of the video, the old lady's word, many interview, but what's the point? What's the point? Touched our heart. So in response, Green Campbell and the Pacific Environment published and distributed a legal handbook for people impacted by water pollution to educate the villagers on their legal rights. Under the Information Disclosure Act, Green Campbell requested wastewater discharge data and pressured these companies to clean up their production. Later the same year, Green Campbell and the Pacific Environment organized a group visit to the village to understand the situation and communicate with the villagers. Participants were staff of Green Campbell, Pacific Environment, and other NGOs, Chinese and foreign volunteers. It's the first time the foreigners get inside the villager, which make the villager get more attention by local government. Green Campbell also got water purification materials and equipment from companies and distribute to villagers for free, which helped them to obtain a temporary treatment, just temporary. Because NGOs' efforts, government's attention, and the villagers' struggle, finally, in 2010, a new pipe from water treatment plant to the village was built, and 1,500 residents can get clean water since then. The case is called Victory for Chinese Nonprofit. The second case is about national network. Green Choice Alliance was started in March of 2007 by Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs, the lead environmental NGO based in Beijing. Pacific Environment provides funding and support to grassroots NGOs and encourages them to participate in alliance. Green Campbell is one of the members of this alliance. After an overall analysis, Green Choice Alliance chose the target of international enterprise, factories, and supply chain in China. The first reason is comparing with agricultural pollution, the point source of pollution is easy to give point heat. And compare with the domestic, the international enterprise, they care more about their image and their social reputation. The second reason, some international enterprises are really playing a very important role in China pollution. When we are using iPhone, iPad, iPod, let's watch a video called The Other Side of Apple.
湖南的19岁姑娘邓雨龙刚来公司的时候，觉得工作的环境特别干净，因为她在一个无尘的车间工作。但是不久前，她突然得了一种怪病，
就是说有时候会头特别的疼，然后突然的就全身没什么力气。
现在感觉反正是腿还是有点疼吧，而且还没力气，有时候就是四肢都发麻，
蹲下去起不来，
蹲下去就起不来，
筷子都拿不起来，
筷子都拿不起来，
对这里的那个牙刷都拿不住，都掉下去了，就是这个纽扣扭不起来。
这种怪病让员工们人心惶惶。
我们公司主要是生产那个手机触摸屏的，主要客户就是 Apple。
Today, we're introducing iPhone 4。
公司引进了一种新的化学溶剂。
正己烷是一种化学溶剂，它的挥发速度比酒精快，擦拭玻璃的效果也比酒精好，但是具有一定的毒性，会通过呼吸道、皮肤等途径进入人体。
给的结论是上下肢周围神经元性损害。
据了解，到记者采访时为止，苏州市第5人民医院已经陆续收治了49名联健科技有限公司的患病员工。
来到这里还没干1年，还没干够半年，然后就医院去了。
因为你的工作的话，肯定你身体上有受过那么大的伤害，
希望得到相应的评级。
是的。毕竟如果以后再犯病的话，现在住院那个医药费都很贵的。
他们带着的就是那8、9万块钱的，用生命健康换来的8、9万块钱的那些后半生的那些费用，医疗费走的。就算以后你再出什么事情，与我无关，我不管了。
但是说我们花的钱已经是太多了，完了之后还没有治好，已经承担不下去了。
你们对他有没有什么期望？
管管我们呗。
如果你有一个机会和他的这个苹果的总裁说一句话，那告诉他一下这个情况，你希望向他说什么呢？
希望就是严格监督公司，尽量不要用那些有危害的那种化学品让员工使用，也就是监督他们。
So Apple is not the worst and not the only target. Now there are 43 local NGOs in Green Charles Alliance, including Green Campbell. The first thing for the member is to collect pollution information from public channels, such as newspaper, announcements of Environmental Protection Agency. Then, to list the companies on China water pollution map. Although NGOs themselves are digging up polluters, the released information in the map is all from public channels to reduce NGOs' own risk. Here is the map with the polluters marked, and it's the name list of polluters. To make more people know who is green and who is black, Green Charles Alliance is enlarging influence through media campaign and NGO network campaigns. However, the pressure from NGO and the media can't give some company the motivation of change. Some global well-known brand give a limited response or no response to NGO about their environmental management of supply chain. The Alliance is initiating Green Choice Consumer awareness activity to give specific brands the pressure of market. Green Choice Alliance has released 5 reports about heavy metal pollution from IT industry and 2 reports about textile pollution. Pacific Environment, the US-based NGO, also joined the campaign. They wrote letters to Apple requesting its supply chain and respond to Chinese NGOs. Furthermore, they organized the public to write 1,000 letters. The joint campaign also obtained positive results. Apple increased compensation to point workers. Apple met with Chinese NGOs in 2011. Apple accepted Green Choice audit requirement in January 27, 2012. It's another milestone event. And Apple now is conducting third-party audit with NGOs. And what's the third-party audit? It means beside company, government, environmental audit firms, the audit to pollution factories should have participation from independent environment NGOs. All companies' feedback, followed by Environmental Protection Agency monitoring data and third-party audit results, are published in China Water Pollution Map. Only after all monitoring and audit reports prove no pollution from the company anymore and no disagreement from the alliance member, the polluter's name can be deleted from the on stage of China Water Pollution Map website. So the cooperation in Pacific Rim, Chinese NGO can getting funding and capacity building from US NGO, and they can have information and experience exchange, can take joint action. But Chinese NGO can't close the pollution factories by environmental lawsuit, although American NGOs use lawsuit well for environmental protection. And the Chinese NGO can't confrontation and polls and other scientific activities. The world is changing, and what can do and what can't may shift as well. So finally, I'd like to introduce myself and some of my personal story to you as well. I give many titles of myself as, first, I'm an environmentalist and youth, but my motivation of environment protection is not pure. It's for getting funding for my outdoor club. I know here we also have a lot of university outdoor courses. And actually, I'm an outdoor enthusiast since my college life. I went outside for trekking, camping, climbing, and biking frequently. But as a student, the biggest difficulty is no money. So I thought of environment with the title of environmental protection to call for sponsorship for my outdoor activities. Although failed to get any support finally, I was totally involved in nature and environmental protection, and I got lots of fun. When I graduated from my university, I moved to Northwest China for nuclear physical engineering position. There, I hope to continue my happiness from environment and share with more people. So I founded Green Campbell in 2004. And I'm also a trainer, campaigner, advocate, and a leader. And I used to have many dreams. When I was a child, I was told, as most of Chinese parents, you should be a scientist after growing up. So my first dream is to be a scientist. Then I almost really did it. So my first job is a nuclear physical engineering. I almost become Leonard. I was used to have the same dream with most people all over the world. Larger house and a nice car. We call it American dream. Till a little accident. In 2007, in the Tibet, when I was climbing a slow mountain with 20,000 feet height, unfortunately, I fell into a glacier gap with a slow surface cover. After 33 hours, I was rescued, and at that time, I was in the sleeping bed. And this photo was named 5 Eskimos Hunt a Sea Ox. So after that, I often asked myself the question, what do you really, really want? Finally, I got it. I quit my engineering job and become full-time environmental actor in later 2007. So my new and current dream is to make a change. Today, I'm here with a lot of carbon emission from international flights. I'm sorry, I have to. Besides the sharing about Chinese grassroots green movement and my story, I would also give you some suggestion and expectation. If you can do more about the environment, and then I can have my carbon neutral. First, take more environmental courses in school. It's very easy to protect environment in China 10 years ago when most didn't know what's environment and what's environment protection. And so what we do is downloading some pictures, preparing some background knowledge, introducing to pupils and public. These are environment protection in that time. Now, surely we need much more professional knowledge and solutions for environment. And second, during the student life, joining in student association and improving your practice experience and leadership, to be a volunteer when you are available. Third, think carefully, what do you really want? If you just want to protect the environment, the same as me, joining government or environmental enterprise, NGO, or start a social enterprise are all the options. Whatever your choice, strong sense of mission and passion are needed. Those are what do you really want, literally. Furthermore, to set up a team and keep innovating. Finally, the most important thing, do it right now, step by step, at which we all work together to make change for a better and sustainable world. Thank you very much. Any question? I'm asking for Tian Tian, also from Lanzhou, the same city, also Gansu province, from Green Campbell, to help me do some translation. Thank you very much.
I was wondering if you can describe some more what you think are the differences between American NGOs and Chinese NGOs.
Thank you. I think also many things are different. First thing is, of course, is the political system. So some things we should use the Chinese way to protect environment in China. And for example, just as I mentioned in my talk, in American, a lot of environmental NGOs use the law suit, use the law as their tools to close the pollution factories. But in China, it's still in the first step. A lot of Chinese, we can't use this way, or if even we have the suit to the court won't accept our suit. So it's very hard in this step. So that's some political background, political system. A second thing is a culture. I think, of course, the culture is different. In China, sometimes even we hope to do something about the environment, but the first thing for us is to build good relationship between each other. So we go to have some trekking together. We go to restaurant together. First thing is to become a friend with the volunteer, with the partners. And the second thing is, okay, let's sit down and talk something about the environment. So that's the difference between culture. Thank you.
You mentioned how in the more recent 5-year plans, they included environmental protection and sustainability and stuff. Does that include funding and kind of a regulatory preference for the smaller NGOs, or is that just kind of focused on support for the government established NGOs?
Okay, thank you. As I know, the policy, just the national policy, they give some very hard, very tall strategy for the development. They don't have some detailed detailed policy about how to support environmental NGO and how to support civil society in the policy, as I know. And but the very interesting thing is I think the government realized a lot of international NGOs are supporting Chinese NGOs. So they also would like to provide some funding to environmental NGO, and so after that, the grassroots NGO, you don't need any support from overseas. That was their hope, but actually they tried to give a huge funding to NGO and civil society, but the final result is not so good. Many NGOs like Green Canberra and some smaller, so we can't get the funding because they have a lot of limitation. Just some gongos, or if you have a good background with the government, only this kind of NGO they can get the funding. So first thing is, of course, we hope to promote policy. We hope to more detailed policy about how to support Chinese grassroots NGO. And the second thing is after we have a good policy, how to make it be true, how to implement it. Thank you. Is that do I answer your question? Okay, thank you.
Lu, 你好. Have you been threatened by the Chinese authorities for your work?
Can you repeat that?
Have you been threatened by the Chinese authorities for the work that you're doing?
By now, I'm very safe. So it's just as I told, you should do the things in Chinese culture. You should. First thing is, I think I should be honest to environment. I should point out what's the pollution, what's the best side of the environment, and to give pleasure to the environment. And the second thing is, you also should know how to build a relationship with the government. So sometimes I know a lot of important and emergency issues we need to do, but it will get the limitation. It's not the current space we can do. So maybe just to hold it down for a moment, do what you can do now, do what just in the space what the government give you now. So just should be more smart. I think I'm not brave in life, just we should use some more smart and strategy.
Would you explain the name of your organization and why you chose it?
Thank you. And okay, it's my third time to introduce my organization's name. So first, green means environment. And many environmental NGOs in China with the name of green. So green means it's environmental groups. So if the organization with the word of blue, it must be some organization to protect the ocean. And the second, Campbell is because Gansu province located in ancient Silk Road, we use camel to carry goods. So Campbell can make people understand it's an organization in northwest China. And also we hope make Campbell give people the hope of environment, because somebody will feel the environment is hopeless. We can't do anything for pollution, for climate change. We can't do anything. We can do anything. We can do nothing, sorry. So we hope to use the Campbell, give people the hope of environment.
Very
very much for coming all the way from Gansu to Portland. We appreciate your making the long trip to see us. I'd like to ask you to talk a little bit more about networking among NGOs in Lanzhou. Have you been able to work with other local NGOs on joint projects?
Okay, thank you. Because every single NGO is very small, is very small, very weak. So we can't solve so many environmental problems. And the ways for Chinese NGOs is to work together. To build a lot of NGO. The Green Choice Alliance is just one of the network. We also have other network about water environmental education, something about green transportation, something is about the environmental noise. So many networks exist now in China. I think it's a good way. Even every environmental NGO is very small, but if we work together, we can do something. We can make some. We can make more changes.
Thank you for coming. It's a really long way. I have two questions. So how small is small? What's the size of Green Camel Bell and some of the other NGOs that you work with? And I'm also wondering if you can talk about what role the internet has played in your various projects and efforts.
Thank you. And Green Campbell has a history of 8 years, but now we just have 3 full-time staffs, only 3. And our annual budget last year is about 200,000 Chinese yuan and about 30,000 US dollars. That might be only one staff's annual salary here in United States. So it's a very small organization. And second thing is about the network and about international internet. Of course, we are using more and more internet and social medias. We have our not called Twitter, it's called a microblog. It's Chinese Twitter. We have our Twitter, we have our website. We use the internet to make more people know our activities. We have our monthly newsletter published in our website and social media. So I think it's a good way because just as I said, every NGO is very small. So our mission is to promote more public participation. The internet is the best way to improve public participation. We hope to use the internet, website, social media to make people know more and more Green Campbell and know more and more about about environmental situation, and then they can take some action, and then they can improve their awareness. So that's our mission through the internet. Thank you.
Thanks for coming once again. In both of the examples that you gave, I think there's a lot of intersections between environmental activism as well as issues of labor rights and worker compensation and worker safety. Has Green Camel Bell or other environmental organizations, NGOs specifically in China, worked with NGOs in areas of labor reform or outside the specific realm of environmentalism to try to promote change?
Thank you. Actually, sometimes the labor's right and the human's right is related to the environment health, but we just call it something about environmental health to reduce the sensitive. And of course, there are some other NGOs are doing things about labor rights, and compare with the labor rights NGOs, Green Campbell and other environmental NGOs are less sensitive, so we can do more things. And for the labor rights NGOs are mainly based in the southeast, the Guangdong and the areas near Hong Kong, and they help the labor to improve their right, give them some trainings, provide the capacity building, a lot of things, but with more stronger control. So I think we just do some work from the side of environment, and I think sometimes we have the same winning with the labor rights NGOs. Just to first thing is for people's right. The second thing is for the environmental justice. Thank you.谢谢啊。